Yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Sami here. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto and Yami fall in love with each other, part 1. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, please subscribe to our channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. You're a jerk pervy sage. Naruto Uzumaki, a young man of 16 years old, standing at around 5'6" in height with good length spiked blonde hair. He had a tan peach skin color, and he had bright blue eyes that conveyed his emotions easily. His cheeks were each covered with 3 whisker marks, and he had a slightly rounded face. He was lean-muscled, though he had some bulk to his muscles. He just wasn't bulky either. He wore a black headband with a metal forehead plate, and an orange jacket with black shoulders and sleeves, with orange pants. Finally, he had on black, armored sandals on to complete his outfit, with a kunai pouch on his leg, and shuriken pouch on his back pocket. He was sitting down on the ground, in a forest naturally, with a book in his hands. He sat in front of a stone with the name Jiraiya marked on the rock, with 3 kunai with strings attached to them in front of the grave marker. Naruto had a soft smile on his face, despite what his words were saying. You know who my pa was this entire time, and you didn't ever tell me ass. Naruto spoke with a grin on his face. His father was the 4th Hokage, the Hokage that he looked up to the most, and that he also had the biggest connection to outside of blood. He never expected that he would have such an amazing father, and when he learned who she was, he could only imagine how amazing his mother was. His father was also his sibling apprentice, since both of them had the same master. Jiraiya of the Sannin was both of their teachers. The grave said nothing. Of course it didn't. I bet you know who my ma was too, don't you? I was named after a character in your book, so of course you know who she was. Also, I'm stupid for not realizing who he was. I look just like my pa. The only thing that's different are our faces. Naruto spoke, as he rubbed his jawline. His father did have longer hair than he did, but the biggest difference was the different faces that they had. He had a more heart-shaped face, while his father had a more narrow face, and their eyes were very different as well. All that to the side, he really should have guessed it long before now, since it was really just that obvious. Naruto grinned and leaned forward. Also, I'm a better sage than you, pervy sage. It took me less than a week to master sage mode, something you couldn't do in like 50 years of training, and my sage mode is stronger than yours is, so now. Naruto stuck his tongue out at the grave. He was just talking to the grave, telling Jiraiya everything that he had been doing, and that he had done. It was calming to him, helping him deal with the still recent death of his sensei. I met Nagato, and Konan too. He was the strongest guy I've ever faced. Even more than strength, though I could understand him. He changed in the end. He brought back everyone who he killed, and sacrificed himself. I'm sure you're proud of him now. Naruto spoke with a wide smile. He had a tear at the edge of his eye that he wiped away. He was still sore from that battle with Nagato, who had been using the name Pain at the time. The fact that he was able to get Nagato to believe in him, and that they could form a strong bond that allowed them to trust each other, was worth all of the pain that he went through. He was sure that even though Nagato had killed their master, that Jiraiya was still very much proud of how Nagato changed in the end. Jiraiya was that type of man after all. Naruto paid no attention to the rustle of leaves behind him. Duh, he was a prodigy student, way better than you, idiot. Naruto could imagine Jiraiya saying those words to him. Though, he doubted that his teacher would mean those words. Jiraiya was rarely honest with his spoken words. He was always better at expressing the words he wasn't saying out loud. I also completed the Rasen Shuriken. I can throw it now, and I can even use it without hurting myself if I slam it into somebody. Naruto exclaimed excitedly, proud of his achievements. He was never able to brag to anyone about what he did. Well, he was, but he didn't really care about what they thought. He cared about those closest to him the most. Naruto frowned softly and thought. My ninjutsu skills surpassed the 4th Hokage. I created and mastered a technique that even Pa couldn't complete. I wish you two were alive to see it. Naruto's words were the most soft-spoken yet. He had met his father's chakra inside of his seal, but that chakra faded away. The S-rank forbidden ninjutsu that he had created, by completing his father's creation, the Rasengan, was something that he wanted to show off to both his father and his teacher. He had surpassed his father and teacher, but neither of them were alive to see it, and that saddened him. A footstep was heard in the grass behind him, softly growing closer to him. I'm stronger than a cage now. It's only a matter of time before I'm the Hokage. Everyone looks up to me now. Naruto stated, as he looked up at the sky. They're calling me a hero. Naruto placed his hand on the grass next to him, and he shifted his legs a little. Shadow Clone Jutsu. In a second, Naruto jerked into a standing position, and while shifting positions he crossed his fingers together. A plume of smoke appeared next to him, as a copy of himself came to be. In an instant, that clone of himself placed his hands together. He vanished in a puff of smoke, and a spinning shuriken the size of a small child appeared in the air. Naruto grabbed his clone-turned Fuma shuriken, and leaned forward, pointing it at the heart of the person standing behind him. He had a curved blade pointed at his chest by a surprised girl. She was shorter than he was, but her hair was the same shade of gold as his. She had a slim body, not very muscled visibly, but she didn't have much fat either. She had moderately well-sized breasts and an hergless figure with good hips. She wore a black top without sleeves and detached sleeves with a hole in her shirt shaped like a four-pointed star, showing her cleavage. She had colder red eyes in contrast to his warm blue eyes, and she had light peach skin. It was her right hand that was transformed into a curved sword, and she was showing surprise that he had sensed her and reacted in time. They stayed in position. "You sense me, you're skilled," she spoke as she shifted her right leg. Her skirt was really short and also those bondage belts on her thighs. "She has really nice thighs," Naruto noticed as he looked her up and down. He noticed her getting ready to either attack or react to an attack from him. Her arm turned back into a regular arm. "But that doesn't matter, Uzumaki Naruto, you are my target." Her hair transformed into several blades, and all of the blades came at Naruto, aiming for several vital areas. Naruto spun his famous shuriken and knocked away the blades heading for his neck and heart, while he kicked away the blade that was heading for his liver. Kicking off the blade, he spun around and kicked away the second blade heading towards his waist, before fully spinning around and throwing the famous shuriken. She severed the connection between the weapons and her hair, her blades falling to the ground as she jumped back away from him. Naruto drew a kunai from his pouch and reached behind him for his shuriken, grabbing several of them. "Yeah, I'm a lot of people's target, still don't know who you are, be more clear with me, okay?" Naruto asked as he rushed her. She didn't have even a second to react before he was swinging his kunai at her. It was pure instinct that allowed her to backflip and jump several meters away from Naruto. As she was in the air, her back towards Naruto, he released the kunai from his hand and it flung towards her, her eye catching the action. Her hair transformed into a large hand and grabbed a tree branch above her, yanking her body out of the way of the kunai. The kunai have nearly stabbed her in the back, but instead flying towards the famous shuriken that Naruto threw earlier. Proof. The famous shuriken that turned back into a clone and caught the kunai before throwing it towards her once more. It got within inches of her face when she used her hair and transformed it into a blade and knocked away the kunai. Their feet touched the tree, and the fist her hair turned back into hair, and she kicked off the tree and went back to the ground. She felt two objects touch the back of her neck. Naruto had made another clone, using the sound of the first clone transforming to mask the sound of him creating a second clone. Both Naruto and his clone were holding kunai and touching her neck with the tip of them. He created a multi-step combat strategy in mere moments and followed through with his plan flawlessly. He diverted my attention with a false attack made to lure me into position, and the clone's attack was to draw my attention to the clone while he prepared his real attack. He's more clever than he looks, the assassin thought as she glanced back at Naruto. She looked for any weakness in his guard and saw his eyes were trained on her. She even looked and saw another Naruto standing behind the clones. She would take it. This Naruto was holding a kunai back, preparing to throw it if it looked like she was going to try and escape. The clone that threw the kunai that got her into position drew his own kunai and held it with a reverse grip. She was in the middle of a formation that made it hard for her to escape. "Who are you?" Naruto, the one standing furthest away from her, who she assumed was the original, shouted as he looked into her sideways glancing eyes. She was silent for a moment. Her mind went into overdrive. "I am Golden Darkness. I came to this planet in order to capture you. I was instructed to go after you with intent to kill." Golden Darkness spoke as her red eyes glanced up, only briefly, before she shifted her hand downwards a little. Naruto blinked. "To this planet, so you're an alien, that is so awesome." Naruto gave an excited shout, not doubting her for even a single moment when she stated that. Naruto didn't drop his guard when he shouted, he just looked towards her with sparkles in his eyes. Sadly, his clones had no self-preservation instinct in them, since they were clones, and Yami turned her leg into a spiked ball and hit the two behind her in the chest. They vanished in puffs of smoke before they realized what happened. While the first clone was looking at what was happening with shock, his hair stretched and turned into a dagger that stabbed him. She turned on her heel and ran towards Naruto, her leg transforming back while running. She passed through the smoke of dead clones and turned her arm into a sword. Naruto threw his kunai at her first, and she leaned her head to the right while running, letting it pass by her face. She stabbed Naruto in the stomach. Proof. When she stabbed Naruto in the stomach, she heard two puffs of smoke. The first being the clone, who she had thought was the original, vanishing. The second came from behind her, and, as she turned around, she saw that Naruto was standing in place of the kunai that the clone had thrown earlier. He had the shuriken he was holding earlier in his hand, as well, cementing this as the original Naruto in her mind. That entire plan was just a ruse. He created a multi-layered, multi-step plan, predicting my actions. He figured that I would assume that the Naruto standing furthest away from me was the original, and transformed himself into the kunai. Golden Darkness thought with widened eyes. She was still in the same position of attacking as earlier, having stumbled forward because of her failed attempt on Naruto's life. She couldn't fully dodge when Naruto threw the shuriken at her. She didn't have enough time to transform her hair and escape, and none of her other transformations would allow her the speed to escape the quick-moving shuriken. fully dodge. She leaned out of the way of 2 of the shuriken, but the third one he threw gave her a not too shallow cut across her arm, as she placed her hand against the grass to correct herself as quickly as possible. Naruto crossed his fingers, and another clone appeared, before he held his hand out. She watched, as the clone helped Naruto create a spiraling yellow sphere of pure energy. Naruto vanished from the sight, and appeared before her. "Rasengan!" Naruto shouted, as he moved his armed hand towards her chest. His eyes widened for a moment, before he pulled his arm back, stopping himself from hitting her with his attack. He stood in front of her, attack in hand. He clicked his teeth, and the Rasengan faded away safely, while she rolled onto her feet, and hopped away from him. The grave, he stopped his attack because he didn't want to destroy the grave. He's been fighting to avoid damaging the grave. Golden Darkness could see that she had been in front of the grave Naruto had been talking to earlier, when he nearly attacked her. With a moment to breath, her hair lifted up, and formed 12 curved blades, all pointed towards Naruto. "You're extremely skilled, and the way you incorporate transformation with strategy is something I'll take note of." Golden Darkness spoke with respect for abilities that deserved respect. He was foolish not to attack her, and more than likely kill her, while he had the chance. Foolishness in not finishing her aside, she could respect the amount of skill that he had shown. Her eyes scanned the area though. "Looking for more clones?" Naruto asked her with a wide cocky smirk on his face. He drew a new kunai from his pouch, before he looked towards Jiraiya's grave marker. "I can't use any destructive techniques, I better stick to the basics, distractions, and taijutsu." Naruto's eyes scanned over the area, looking for what he could use. Taijutsu wasn't the smartest option, mostly because of the way she had a strange ability to transform and control her body parts, but it was still better than using destructive ninjutsu. "Do you have more hidden?" Golden Darkness honestly asked him. He seemed the type to answer. "So you don't know then?" Naruto's answer came with a playful grin, as he teased her with knowledge she wanted. "You're very annoying," says the one interrupting me when I was visiting my teacher. Naruto reminded her with a more serious look. She didn't look ashamed, she lowered her stance, and leaned forward. She pointed a few of the hair blades behind herself, just in case he had another clone in her blind spot. He did have a point. It's best to attack the target when their defenses are down, and they are alone. A basic rule of assassination. Golden Darkness started with Naruto. The battle resumed. It was an unspoken cave for them to fight. They ran towards each other, and Golden Darkness knew she had the edge in length over him. Her hair, while she was running, stretched towards Naruto with the blades getting prepared to stab him. He was several meters away from her, while her blades were only now inches away from his skin. "Yes." Naruto's words were clear, and when her blades made contact with his skin, her eyes widened when he gained more speed. Her blades shattered against his body completely, and Naruto cleared the distance between them faster than she was capable of tracking with her eyes. Not even her trained instincts allowed her to react in time when she saw him inches away from her. His eyes had transformed, changing color from blue to yellow, with bar-shaped pupils, and he had orange rings over his eyes. Naruto placed 2 fingers against her sternum. Golden Darkness was knocked backwards by an unbelievable amount of raw physical force. The wind was ejected roughly from her lungs, both when she felt his touch hit her, and when she was sent flying into a tree. Her body broke through the tree, before she continued her path, and was stopped by another tree. Not without putting a large crack down to the second tree. Spit came from her open mouth, and words escaped her, as she collapsed onto her hands and knees, catching her breath the best as she could. "When I created my first strategy, I did create another clone. While you were distracted by figuring out a way to escape my clones, I had another clone nearby gathering natural energy. I taunted you into rushing towards me, because I knew you would use your longer reach to hit me first." Naruto explained to her, as he appeared before her. Even when she regained her breath and looked up towards him, her torso hurting enough to keep her down, she saw that Naruto was holding the kunai she threw earlier at her face. Despite having caught her breath, it was hard for her to breathe and talk to him normally. The blow to her body had caused damage throughout her entire body, not just her torso. "I thought he was an idiot, but his battle strategy was so effective it couldn't belong to anyone but a genius. This entire battle, since the second I showed my ability to him, he picked apart how I fought, and created a plan that took advantage of my abilities." Golden Darkness looked at Naruto with admiration for his shown skills. Even though she was more than likely going to die, she was going to appreciate just how skilled the opponent who would be her killer had turned out to be. The entire battle, she had just been playing into his hands, as he studied her abilities, and formulated a plan that turned her strength into a weakness. Her opponent was amazing. "Are we done now?" Naruto asked, as he dodged the kunai from his hand, and sat down on the ground in front of her. His eyes turned back to blue, and he grinned at her, completely relaxing in front of her. "What? I'm sorry." Golden Darkness didn't know what to make of this. "You're not the first person to try and kill me, and you won't be the last. You're clearly not with the Akatsuki, so who hired you, and why me?" Naruto asked Golden Darkness with a laid-back grin. "A man named Orochimaru sent a message. Orochimaru is dead, killed by my friend Sasuke." Naruto mentioned golden darkness with a deadpan voice. His tone was serious, but also kind of playful if that were possible. She blinked and looked at him in surprise. Golden darkness frowned. She held her chest in pain as she sat backwards, and she winced even as she bowed forward and gave Naruto the apology he deserved. I apologize, but my contractor dead. It seems I have no reason to target you anymore. The information I was given about you was incorrect anyway. You were detailed as an idiotic lucky fool who couldn't do anything but throw around his power. You're clearly a skilled ninja, capable of stealth and cunning tactics, though the idiot part seems true at first glance. Golden darkness didn't see, as Naruto's face became more sour with each word that she spoke following her apology. Orochimaru, the asshole, couldn't have been a little nicer when hiring an assassin to kill him. Seriously, super rude. Seriously, that dude, even in death, is such a bastard. It's not surprising he was able to make contact with aliens though, the bastard was a genius. Naruto looked over golden darkness before she tried to stand up. She fell back down. Careful, I might have broken your ribs, Yami. I'm pretty sure I broke your ribs when I was fighting you. Here, I'll help you up. We'll get you fixed up. I know a few medic ninja who will heal you if I ask. Naruto promised her as he grabbed her by the hand. He wrapped her arm around his shoulder before he assisted her in standing. Yami? Golden darkness thought to herself with raised eyebrows at Naruto. She leaned over in pain. Everything hurts still. You noticed that? Yeah, golden darkness is long, so I'm going to call you Yami, darkness, for short. Naruto laughed with slightly red cheeks, having been caught in his nickname giving. He had a habit of giving people nicknames that he believed suited them. I'm sorry about hurting you, by the way, I didn't mean to hit you this hard. Honestly, I just thought it would be best to end the fight quickly. Naruto explained when he saw the pained look on her face. He gave her a thumbs up with his free hand. Sage mode was his quickest way to end the fight without spilling blood, though he did leave her in poor condition. He held back when using his frog strike by only using 2 fingers, since a full hand would kill most opponents with a clean hit, but he knew that the attack would do a lot of internal damage. Uzumaki Naruto, you're very strange, Yami thought to herself, as she glanced up at Naruto. Call me what you wish, it doesn't matter much to me. Yami spoke softly, as she looked around. I'm thankful you didn't kill me. Yami mentioned to Naruto, as they started to walk towards the village crater. From her spaceship, she had seen the sorry state that Naruto's home village was in, and she knew where they were headed. I try to avoid killing if I think I can talk to my enemy. Though, I'm still going to give a beating to those who need one. Naruto raised his fist up with an irritated grin, thinking of a few people who could use a good beating. Ow. People who would get those beatings after he got Yami healed. To think there existed ways beyond simple medical equipment and medicine to speed up the recovery process, Yami had to admit that she was appreciating the unique way that the people of this world healed others. She didn't need some advanced surgery to heal her broken bones, and she had broken bones, and she wasn't being forced to take some strange medicine or shot to fix herself up. The doctor that was fixing her was a woman who had glowing green hands, and was placing them against her sternum. Like magic though, her body's pain was vanishing, and her bones were being reset and restored by the mystical touch of the woman healing her. She was more surprised about the fact that she was in the same tent as a woman who was in a coma while she was being healed by a slightly depressed-looking woman. The woman in the bed had dull blonde hair and tanned wrinkled skin. She was sleeping on her back, and she wasn't moving much at all. It was clear that some sort of exhaustion had caused her coma, and Naruto was looking at the old woman, in her 60s, with slightly saddened eyes, as well. The woman healed was much younger, a woman in her late 20s with short black hair, and a slender body with a normal figure. She had trained her body to perfection, but her kind black eyes seemed to train in on Naruto. You really beat Naruto, you shouldn't treat girls this way. Assassin. Naruto pointed at Yami, the finger of blame pointed. Even that didn't stop her medical treatment like she assumed that it would. Assassin Shizune, this girl tried to kill me. Sage mode was the quickest way to end the fight. Naruto explained to the woman, Shizune, who gave him a soft smile. What? Naruto explains that an assassin tried to kill him, and he was now asking for her to be healed, and the woman smiled at him. Naruto must make it a habit of saving the lives of the people who tried to kill him, if this was people's reaction to that statement. And now she has had a change of heart. I swear Naruto, it's like your voice has the magic ability to bring out the best traits in others. Shizune gave a sigh, having seen it several times before. She had seen the victims of Naruto's heart-changing speeches. She was only alive after having her own soul ripped out and sent to hell because of Naruto's way of talking with others and changing them. Yami furrowed her brow. That trait sounded familiar to her, as if she had heard of a species of people whose attractive looks and voices could bring out the best in others and inspire love. She looked at Naruto with a furrowed brow for a moment. So Yami, who hired you? Shizune asked the girl. I wasn't truly hired. I, and many other assassins, received a transmission from a man named Orochimaru. We were all given a mission to capture or kill Yuzu Naruto. Yami changed the way she addressed Naruto. She saw him send her a look when she tried to speak of him formally. Shizune sighed. That man is just a cause of so much trouble. To think he could even contact aliens. Shizune didn't even need to be told the girl in front of her was an alien. Her internal organs were slightly different. Her body was filled with some kind of strange metallic feeling that slightly interfered with her just, and with Naruto's luck, a cute female assassin from outer space was about right. Naruto also didn't seem to be too worried about how she was taking it, and instead of taking the girl to Sakura he took her to her, which meant he wanted this kept secret. She knew Naruto well. He was a sneaky snake more assassins. Naruto asked Yami with a deadpan tone. That sounded annoying. The ones who could get you were promised rewards beyond their wildest imagination. Yami explained the base of it. The actual cash to credit amount wasn't stated or anything, but it was hard to turn down the offer of a reward so great that it couldn't be put into words. Experimentation. Shizune and Naruto spoke in unison. No doubt, any assassin that actually managed to get in would prove themselves as a worthy test subject to Orochimaru. He wanted to find a strong alien to experiment on, and what better way to find a strong alien than to have them fight a strong ninja. The man's reward was little more than the honor of being a test subject. Both Shizune and Naruto knew this from personal experience with Orochimaru, and both of them have knowledge of his past deeds. So there was no reward, and everyone was given bad information, Yami thought, her expression quickly souring upon realizing that she had nothing to gain from this entire endeavor. All she earned herself were broken ribs and damaged pride, which honestly wasn't worth the trip or the gas that she used getting to this forbidden planet in the first place. Naruto looked at Tsunade. Has Granny shown any signs of waking up? Naruto asked Shizune on a different note. Shizune frowned and shook her head. Severe chakra exhaustion isn't something a woman her age can handle lightly. She used nearly all of her chakra to save as many villagers as she could. She's lucky to be alive at all. Shizune spoke with strong emotion welling up. She looked at Tsunade, in her elderly appearance, with sad eyes. Neither Naruto nor Shizune thought any less of Tsunade when she looked so old, neither of them bothered by her actual appearance. Yami glanced at Tsunade. There is a medic who might be able to wake her. As a show of gratitude for healing me. Don't sweat it, Granny will recover from this in time. She just needs rest is all. I'm the one who hurt you, so you don't need to be grateful or anything. Naruto interrupted her. They didn't need a special doctor or anything. Tsunade would recover naturally in time. Sad as they were that she was in a coma, they still believed she would recover. The old woman was a trooper through and through. Something like this wouldn't keep her down forever. Yami frowned for a second, and then kept that frown on her face. That was odd, and it caused a strange feeling inside of her stomach. Growl. No, that was hunger, she was just hungry. Her face turned a little pink, and she looked away from a grinning Naruto. Shizune even let out a light giggle at Yami's reaction to her hunger. Let's go get some ramen, Yami, on me. Want to come to Shizune? Naruto asked his elder ninja. She shook her head, and looked towards the stacks of unfinished work that she needed to get done. No, but thank you. Rebuilding a village takes a lot of work, and I'm having to do the Hokage paperwork while Tsunade is in this condition. I understand why she drinks. Shizune hated to admit it, but she wanted to go get a drink. She was dealing with so much paperwork involved with the village being rebuilt that it was insane. Naruto snorted. She drank before becoming Hokage. Come on Yami, let's go get some ramen. Ichiraku Ramen had their store rebuilt not long ago, and I'm craving ramen you know. Naruto's words were excited like a puppy. Yami looked towards him silently, judging him, and trying to figure out if there were any underlying reasons for his offer. She just assumed, safely, that he was just that friendly of a guy. So she nodded her head. She got back onto her feet, and she gave Naruto her extra nod to show that she was ready to go and eat. After being healed, her body felt slightly drained of energy. The fight she used a bit of energy fighting Naruto, also having something to do with her hunger. She had the itch to stab Naruto in the back when he turned his back towards her, walking out of the tent, but she pushed down the urge. He was no longer a target. She was never truly under contract to get him, since the information was not only misleading, but the one contracting her was dead. You know? Yami thought when she noticed the strange way Naruto ended his sentence. She simply raised her eyebrow at him, before she looked around. She could see civilians and ninja working together to rebuild the village. With the village inside of a giant crater, she could only hazard a guess that something huge happened. The village was massive, and the fact that the crater was just as massive to the point it stretched all the way to the outer walls of the village, showed that some grand battle. Oddly enough, nobody was giving her strange looks for her clothes, even though they weren't much like the clothes around her. Her red eyes weren't being talked about, and nobody was shrinking away from her. It wasn't bad. And Granny is the current Hokage, though right now Yami. Naruto questioned her, as he explained the recent history of the Hidden Leaf village. He noticed that she was just looking around, taking in many of the freshly built buildings, and the people building them. Yeah, the village is really awesome. You should have seen it before it was destroyed. I've traveled all over, but nothing beats home for me. No matter how trash this place becomes, it'll always be beautiful to me. Naruto furthered his statement, and Yami nodded her head at his enthusiasm at least. Naruto gave an awkward smile. She wasn't one for small talk, was she? Who are they? Yami asked, as she pointed a finger towards the mountain nearby, the mountain with 5 faces carved into it. It was the only huge recognizable landmark that she could see, besides the village being in a crater. The faces on the mountain were actually the only reason she knew that Naruto would be here. That landmark had been included in the briefing message for the job, but no details about it. It was odd, but the face-covered mountain commanded respect, and looking upon the noble faces on the mountain, she felt like she was looking upon greatness itself. That's the Hokage monument. When somebody becomes the Hokage, the leader of this village, their face is placed on that mountain out of respect. One day, my face is going to be up there too. Naruto stared into the eyes of each of the stone faces with pride, his eyes almost sparkling with admiration for each person on the mountain. It breathed in a deep breath filled with his emotion, and exhaled in a way that showed so much self-confidence that Yami didn't doubt his words. Naruto just looked at the stone face of the 4th Hokage. His father, and with those words, more pride filled him. Senju Tsunade, the woman in the coma, is the 5th on the mountain. Yami asked, as she stepped closer to Naruto to talk on more even terms with him. Walking side by side towards their destination, she was able to see people smiling and waving towards Naruto. So many people seemed to hold Naruto in high value, and the amazing in their gazes, the sheer way they seemed to regard him as somebody to be held up with respect, was visible to even her. Naruto was the hero of these people, that much was obvious, even if Yami didn't know why he was considered such. She must be a great woman. Yami noted with a respectful nod. Granny Tsunade is pretty awesome, though she has a nasty temper. She once punched a guy through a door for mocking her age. Naruto laughed when he remembered that. It was hilarious. You call her Granny? Well, me and Granny Tsunade are like family. Doesn't stop us from arguing a lot though, but I always win. Naruto bragged, as he puffed his chest out. Whenever he bet with Tsunade, whenever he had an argument with her, whenever they had a disagreement, it would always end with him winning. So what about you, what is your family like? Naruto asked Yami, and she didn't respond right away. I don't have one. Yami looked at Naruto after she said that, and she noticed that he was making a sad face, a comically sad face with tears in his eyes. He clapped his hands around one of her own, and wiped the tears from his eyes. That's so horrible, I know just how that feels. I never had a family growing up either. Don't worry Yami, I'm sure you'll find the people you'll consider your family one day you know. Naruto's words of sympathy and hope didn't really mean much to her. Though she did take note of the fact that Naruto didn't have a family growing up. Assassins had to take note of all small details that could be useful later on, it was part of the job. It's fine, weapons don't need family. She kind of reminds me of Haku. Naruto thought with a softer look appearing deep in his eyes. He stood up straighter and let go of Yami's hand. He started to walk again, before he blinked a few times. You're a girl right? Not some kind of tranny? Naruto asked Yami with a shiver going down his spine. Sometimes, he just had horrible luck when dealing with boys who looked like girls, or girls who dressed like boys. He had trouble identifying cross-dressing. I'm female. Yami deadpanned him. She didn't know why she was asked that, but she was a little annoyed at her obvious gender being called into question. She looked at Naruto with some confusion when she saw his sigh of relief, shoulders relaxing, as his hand went to his heart. Strange. Naruto was a strange guy, she was learning. Come on, let's hurry, I'm getting hungrier just thinking about that ramen waiting for me. I know you're going to love it. You can order anything on the menu, my treat. Naruto walked in front of Yami, turning around, and walking backwards with closed eyes, a smile on his face. The carefree way his arms were behind his head, and his voice was filled with the pure meaning of what it meant to be friendly, reassuring her. She could feel herself relaxing, that alone putting her on edge when she realized that she had almost relaxed her guard completely. It was strange and frightening, how in only a few hours this boy had managed to become so friendly with her, and how he was able to get her to relax around him. Uzumaki Naruto. She had never met somebody as strange as this man. Sorry. For what? Yami asked when Naruto apologized to her, both of them sitting across from each other at his apartment. They were waiting with steaming cups in front of them, with a water boiler between the cups. She wasn't super experienced with food that required chopsticks, but it was nothing for Naruto to apologize for. Naruto sniffled. I just wanted to take you to Ichiraku's, but they were closed. Naruto rubbed the dramatic tears from his eyes. Yami deadpanned him wordlessly. She forgot, just because he was a warrior, didn't erase the fact that he was a bit of a goofy man, as well. If anything, it just showed that there were all types of strong people in the universe. She would have to make note of that when she went on her next assignment, so she didn't suffer the same humiliating defeat that she suffered against Naruto. It's still good. Yami didn't say anything out loud, as she followed Naruto's example, and started to eat. It was good, and since she usually just ate pretty basic rations, having real food with actual taste to it was a pleasant change. Though, she decided to favor the food more than it appeared that Naruto did. Ichiraku or not, ramen is still ramen, and still good. So Yami-chan, what are you going to do now? You're welcome to stay in Konoha, as long as you need. Naruto extended his open invitation to Yami. He knew that she tried to kill him for a bounty, but since the misunderstanding had been cleared up, she was just as good as anyone else, as friend material. You can even stay with me. Naruto pointed out with a wide grin on his face, happy to give her a place to stay. He had such a nice apartment now, though he would always miss his old apartment, the one he grew up in, since he was just a very young child. No thank you. I will go back to my ship and leave this planet. Yami, on the other hand, saw no real reason to stay on the planet, now that there was no job for her. She was very appreciative that Naruto didn't kill her when he had the chance, and she was thankful that he was feeding her, but she had no desire to stay much longer. As curious as she was about Naruto, he was quite the mysterious man. She did have a job that she needed to go and do. Thank you for the hospitality. Yami gave him a nod of appreciation. Naruto gave her a thumbs up. That's right, you have some kind of spaceship thing. If you want to thank me, you should totally let me see your ship. Naruto didn't really need anything from her, but he did want to see an awesome thing he had never seen before. The spaceship sounded really cool, and not something he was going to see very often. It sounded really amazing. Yami did think it over. There's no harm in that, very well. Yami took the beacon to her ship out of her pocket, and she pressed the only button on it. The button that was shaped like the four-pointed star symbol on her shirt. With the button pressed, it would only be moments before her ship was outside of the apartment waiting for them. With its amazing speed and pinpoint stopping ability, they should be expecting it any moment. My ship is outside of this apartment. Yami gently gestured with her hand towards the door. She felt the wind pass her, as Naruto got up and ran to the door with an excited look, a cheerful aura, and a shout of enthusiasm. You're a liar, Yami-chan. Naruto walked back towards the table, the door still open, and Yami looked out towards the door with her eyes widened. Her ship wasn't outside. Yami pressed the button once more, and she got up and looked out of the apartment. Naruto followed after her, looking around with her as she did so. Her eyes scanned the blue sky, and without a cloud in the sky, it should be obvious to see her black ship. Lunatic should be here by now. Yami whispered, as she looked at the call beacon in her hand. She flipped it over, and she looked at several numbers on it. Naruto looked at it over her shoulder, and he tilted his head. Those numbers meant nothing to him. Swung. Naruto had his ramen in his hands again, speaking while leading, since Yami pressed the button once more, and watched, as the buttons didn't change. My ship isn't coming, and this isn't where I left Lunatic. Do you have a map? These coordinates are latitude and longitude. Yami explained to him, and Naruto gestured to his mostly empty apartment. He didn't have very much stuff at the moment. He had some clothes, some tools, and his bed. His apartment had just recently been rebuilt, so he lacked a lot of basic things at the moment. A map, something he never really used anyway, was not something that he would have in his apartment. I don't, but I know a few people that might have a map. We can go ask around. That, or we can ask Kakashi-sensei. Naruto walked over to the window, and he opened it up. He looked down, and saw Kakashi sitting underneath the window with a new book in his hands. Nope, not a new book. Instead, it was simply a new copy of an old book that he was always reading, since his old copies were destroyed by the village. You knew I was here. What happened to the cute genin who would always be so amazed when I showed up? Kakashi asked, as he glanced upwards towards Naruto. He was smiling through his mask though, as he stood up and hopped into the room. Yami was instantly on alert. I didn't even sense him. Yami thought with narrowed eyes at the new man. This one kept a very wary eye on her, not dropping his guard around her, despite how lax he seemed. She could practically feel the skill the man had. Though, he relaxed when Naruto walked over to her and placed an arm around her neck, bringing her in close. Yeah, the old days and stuff. Yami-chan lost something, and this is where it is. Do you know where this place is? Naruto asked, as he took the remote from Yami and showed it to Kakashi. He looked at it for a few moments, before he nodded his head. A shook Kakashi looked at Yami, showing that he had been filled in on her origins by Shizune, who asked him to watch over Naruto, and he gave his eye smile. Is gone now. This is one of Orochimaru's old hideouts. I'm sure that Orochimaru still has several loyal ninja who haven't been informed of his death. One of them might have seen the ship and moved its location. Kakashi theorized. Naruto grinned, and Kakashi bonked him on the head with a book. Ow. I need my ship to leave. I will go and retrieve it. Yami wasn't about to let her ship remain stolen, not if she could help it, and she could help it. You'll die. Orochimaru might be dead, but his hideouts are extremely dangerous places. Alone, you'll be killed. It would take a team of skilled shinobi to invade this location and get your ship. Kakashi explained to her the futility of it all. Of course, Kakashi looked towards Naruto and nodded his head. Then again, you have the hero of the hidden leaf with you. I would try and talk him out of it, but we both know you are too stubborn for that. Kakashi knew his student well enough. He knew that Naruto was going to help this girl, and they both, he and Naruto, knew that even if he was told no, he was going to help her anyway. So might as well try and help out, make the backlash as small as possible. Naruto laughed of course, knowing that Kakashi had him pegged with that one. Yami looked at Naruto, who nodded his head. I'm ready to go whenever you are. Naruto slammed his fist into his hand. Raiding Orochimaru's base was just the thing he needed to get back at the bastard for sicking assassins after him. Kakashi closed his book behind Naruto and put it into his pouch before he put his hands in his pockets. You're very helpful. Yami pointed out to Kakashi. Mama, I just know my student. This idiot Kakashi started, and Naruto laughed while rubbing the back of his head. Brings out the best in everyone, and makes powerful allies by following his gut. So I trust him, and if he wants to help you, then that must be the best thing to do. Kakashi reasoned from personal experience. He had seen Naruto turn even the more unforgivable of people, like Zabuza, Gaara, and even Nagato, and turn them into allies willing to put their lives on the line for Naruto. Naruto's track record of changing people for the better, even those who didn't want to change, was rather amazing. Yami looked at Naruto, and his bright smile, with eyes more curious than they had been. You're fine with being called an idiot? Yami asked Naruto, since he didn't seem hurt by it. I would rather be an idiot who follows his gut and does what he thinks is right than a genius who only cares about himself and sticks to all of the rules. Naruto grinned widely. He fully accepted it when people called him an idiot because most of the time, they were actually complimenting him. Yami raised an eyebrow. Kakashi nodded his head. Though, we should go in a 4-man squad just to be safe and increase our numbers. I'll contact Yamato and we'll set out early in the morning. So get some rest now. Kakashi told Naruto, who gave him a mock salute. Yami became serious when she realized that they were actually doing this. They were going to go help her get her ship back. No, what was stranger was how many people were willing to put so much effort into helping her. So many people had all of their trust in Naruto. She wanted to know why. Their speed is unreal. I have to fly just to keep up with their running. Yami couldn't help but use her transformed wings, white feathered wings, to fly behind Naruto, Kakashi, and the new ninja she met named Yamato, as they ran across the grasslands around them. It was the dead of night, and they had snuck out of the gates of Konoha, though they didn't need to. Now they were traveling towards the location that her ship was supposed to be, and she quickly learned that ninjas ran fast. Very fast. Fast enough to the point they made many forms of transportation look slow, and her own running speed didn't keep up. So using her transformation ability, she grew wings to allow herself to fly next to them to keep up with the speed somewhat. She was lagging behind very little, to the point that they were just barely lowering their speed to match hers. So aliens are real explains so much. I know right, it explains why your face is so scary. Naruto teased Yamato, as he ran next to the Jonin, who gave Naruto a dark face. I'm purposely not looking at you. Naruto proudly stated without looking at Yamato. Knowing that he was being given the scary face like usual, and rather than be freaked out, he would rather just keep running. Be on the lookout, we're getting close. Orochimaru's bases always have traps around them. Who knows what could be waiting for us? Kakashi warned them, but he stared straight at Naruto when he said it. The person most likely to run into danger headfirst without a care in the world. Hey. I'm not that bad. I beg to differ. See, that wasn't me that fell into a trap. Naruto pointed out when a hole opened up in the dirt underneath Yamato, and the elder ninja fell into it. The man gave a girlish scream as he fell, before wooden pillars rose from the hole and wrapped around both Naruto and Kakashi's wrists. The two ninja grabbed onto them for only a moment and steadied their feet. With steady holds, the wood pillars retracted, and Yamato came out of the hole with the wood going back into his hands. Yami-chan? Naruto asked the girl. She took out her beacon. We're close to where my ship is, the coordinates will put us in that mountain. Yami pointed towards the nearest mountain. It was a rather unsuspecting mountain, and didn't even give off a dangerous vibe. Here, we'll split up and search. Use these radios, and stay in contact. Kakashi pulled 4 sets of earbuds out, and neck straps. He put one of them in his own ear, and around his neck. He tossed them to Yamato and Naruto, with Naruto giving one of his own to Yami. She copied them, and put them on. Yamato, you search the area where the forest is most dense. Naruto and Yami go together and... Yami's pretty strong, I'm sure that she can handle herself. Naruto rubbed the back of his head with a grin. Yami nodded. She has no experience with Orochimaru. Experience we all have, so she doesn't know what to look for. You're the strongest of us, so you're best suited to helping her. Kakashi spoke with a wave of his hand. He had little doubt that the girl was strong in her own right, but strength didn't mean much when you were pit against the genius of Orochimaru. It was best for those without experience to be with those with it. Yami nodded her head in understanding. Since she really didn't have any knowledge of how the man operated, it was best for her to have somebody with her. I feel like I should tag along, just in case Naruto loses control. Yamato pointed out with a sharp look at Kakashi. They didn't seem worried. Naruto won't lose control. We'll search around the mountain for a hidden entrance, but if we can't find it, we'll resort to plan B. Kakashi gave Naruto a knowing look, as he drew his finger across his throat. He made the cutting sound, and Naruto nodded enthusiastically, knowing full well the meaning of what Kakashi meant. Destroy the mountain, and start digging into the base from above. Yami simply raised an eyebrow. Naruto pounded a fist into his palm. Don't question it. Yami decided that not asking was the best course of action. Kakashi nodded to Naruto, before he vanished with a blur of speed. He blurred towards the west side of the mountain, while Yamato did the same thing towards the eastern more forested area. What do I need to look for? Yami asked Naruto, as she looked at the trap that Yamato had fallen in only minutes previously. There were spikes at the bottom, and there were snakes at the bottom of the pit, all bearing their fangs dangerously. The snakes dipped down back into the water that was surrounding the spikes, vanishing from view once more. I say we look for one of the ninja bound to be around, we capture some of them, and make them tell us where the entrance is. Orochimaru used to always have some of his goons wandering around. Naruto figured that none of Orochimaru's subordinates were informed of his death. The man's higher-ups were all very good at keeping secrets. There was little doubt in his mind that that meant there were many ninja around, doing their duty on the off chance that Lord Orochimaru would arrive at the base. Yami nodded, and made her wings grow once more, as it was time to take to the sky, and look for any ninja in the area. I'll scout ahead. Actually, I have a better plan. Naruto spoke with a playful smile on his face. You can transform your clothes too, right? Naruto questioned her, and she nodded her head. Her clothes were made by her, and she was able to use the nanomachines in her body to change their appearance rather easily. Why? Later. Transparent escape technique. Naruto watched, as Yami laid down on the ground, tied up with a gag in her mouth. The ropes tying her down were shaped like snakes, as if they were snakes keeping her restrained. Naruto stood upside down, completely invisible to the naked eye, as he watched over her. Yami knew where he was though, since it didn't seem like he had moved from where he was standing since turning invisible. This won't work. Yami didn't even know why she was going along with this plan. Pretend to be helpless, so that when a ninja came across her, they would try and take her to be experimented on. The mere thought that somebody would fall for something this obvious was laughable, and for a trained ninja to not see this as a trap was even worse a thought. No, the odds that out of the entire forest, that somebody would even come across them was hard to believe. It was easier to believe if they were moving around, but they hadn't moved around in a while now. There's nothing on my end. Nothing here either. We don't have anything on this side either. We should soon though. Naruto placed his hand to the button on his neck, hearing Kakashi and Yamato in his ear. He whispered so that nobody other than those two heard him, and he continued to watch Yami laying on the ground. This isn't working. Yami stated, as she transformed the gag in her mouth back into a choker, before she turned the fake snakes back into her sleeves. She dusted herself off, before she stood up. Naruto dropped from the tree, and became visible. Yeah, it's stupid to think that anyone would come here, Naruto stated, before a shinobi wearing full shinobi gear walked into the same area as them. Seconds after they gave up on the plan. He and Yami looked at the shinobi, who stared at them in confusion for several seconds, and all was silent. Told you. Naruto pointed at the ninja. Naruto rushed towards the ninja though, the second he started to draw his sword, and he slammed his elbow into the handle. He prevented Jonin from drawing his sword, before he elbowed him in the gut. Yami jumped towards them with her hands changed into swords, and she slashed Jonin twice in the back, while Naruto was preventing him from moving. Naruto punched him in the throat, before he chopped him in the back of the neck. The Jonin went down like a sack after that, and Naruto grinned, with his hand up high in the air for Yami. Yeah, that was some awesome teamwork, high five Yami-chan. Now we can get the information we need from him. Naruto saw that Yami didn't move to slap his hand. So he wiggled it lower towards her, and she looked at him for a moment. She raised her own hand, before she lightly placed it against it, and withdrew it quickly. Naruto still put both of his hands behind his head though. He's going to bleed out. Yami stated, and Naruto waved a hand. Nah, ninja are tough, this one oh crap, he is bleeding out. I don't get it, it's only a couple of cuts to the back. Naruto pointed out with a paling face. Not because the ninja was dying, he didn't have much of a problem with killing, other than finding it distasteful. It was more the fact that if this man died, then he would take the knowledge of how to break into the base with him. Those are usually fatal. I've been hit by way worse than that, and that's me. Let's stop the bleeding, and wake this guy up. Naruto reached down to try, and help the guy. He died. Crap, well, that is a while wasted. I guess now we have to search the old-fashioned way. Damn, it will take way too long to search everywhere. Naruto spoke with irritation, as he looked around the vastness of the forests around them. Yami stepped next to him, and looked at him with a raised eyebrow. He didn't forget, did he? You can clone. I can clone. Naruto shouted in agreement. He had completely forgotten that he could clone himself, and scattered the clones to look for him, the original purpose of his shadow clone jutsu in the first place. He was so used to doing this kind of stuff without his clones, he mostly used clones for training and fighting. Actually using them for the purpose of doing this stuff never even crossed his mind. Shadow clone jutsu. Naruto declared, as he crossed his fingers. He didn't need an army, so he just summoned 50 clones around them, and with a snap of his fingers they scattered to the winds. "You're a strange person, Uzumaki Naruto." "Yes, Naruto." Naruto insisted on her, and she nodded her head. This wasn't the first time he had mentioned that to her. "Come on, just because my clones are looking, doesn't mean we can't look too." Naruto spoke, as he looked towards the directions his clones all went. He could leave all of the work to the clones, but there was still the chance that he could be the one who found the entrance first, and not a clone. Naruto grabbed Yami's hand, and she looked at him, as he smiled brightly at her. "What? Make those super pretty wings of yours again, with your wings, and my eyes. I bet we can find anything together." Naruto told her with what Yami was quickly learning to be his smile. Yami didn't know what to say, but she did make her wings anyway, and she took to the sky holding Naruto's hand, and taking him with her. Her wings. Pretty. Thanks for watching my video. Leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time. Till then, sayonara.